G'day, my name's Angus Gibson. We live on a 5,000 acre property here just outside Goulburn. My great-great-grandfather came here in the late 1820s and settled, and we've been here ever since. We've traditionally been a fine wool merino sheep and beef cattle property. This year, for the first time in over 150 years, we've completely destocked our sheep. The drought itself has impacted us in a number of ways. As you can see behind me, a lot of our dams have dried up completely, which means there's some parts of our property we can't use at all. We're quite lucky, we've got some permanent water on the property, but there are a lot of people that aren't so lucky, and for them, even if they had feed, they're having to cart water, which is a soul-destroying thing to have to do, and for them, it's not just been this year, it's been a drought that we've been experiencing in this part of the world for about 5 years now. Droughts in the past have often been a bit patchy, so there's always been somewhere in the state that you could buy grain from or buy hay from. But when it's so widespread, then feed is very hard to get anywhere. Last year we were actually transporting hay from South Australia, which is a huge transport cost. As the drought ends, as we hope it will in the not too distant future, a lot of people are going to have to build their numbers up. We've destocked 6,500 sheep here. To get back up to our breeding numbers will either be a very expensive option or it'll be a very long option. And either way, the community are going to have to pay by a greater scarcity of product and therefore higher prices. I think the other thing is that for as long as you are destocking, you keep cutting back your numbers and you have genetics that you have been breeding with for many, many years, and you lose that. So often you lose some very valuable stock, and it takes a long time to get that same quality of stock back into production. I think the biggest thing about drought that affects people is that, unlike a flood or a fire, which happens, does damage, and then you get on with repairing the damage almost the next day, a drought goes on, and it just saps your will, saps your confidence, saps your hope, I suppose, and it's that long, lingering nature of drought that makes it so hard to cope with. We're hoping in the future that we can make a go of the property and that it can be financially viable for the next generation. But I've got to say, the rural industry's just about on its knees at the moment. Recently, a couple of days ago, I was in Bathurst for a climate change conference, and it was attended by probably over 300 people, which was very encouraging to me because it just shows that public awareness has risen considerably in really the last 12 months, 18 months. The same conference held 2 years ago would have had a dozen people probably. We've got to look at valuing, as I said, not just the production of the usual meat and beef and wool off a property, but also the services that it provides, the clean water, the carbon sinks that the trees provide. And I'm hoping that in the future that there will be a value placed on them so that property owners can look after their property, that they can truly value the trees and the vegetation they have on their property, which is sequestering the carbon. And in that way they'll be more able to look after their properties and provide the community with a way of taking some really positive steps towards addressing some of these major issues.